Hey, folks. I'm live. I'm mass communicating. So I came into the office to put a couple listings on and thought, what the heck? I haven't done a live at the office. I don't think ever on YouTube. Bald head. So I'm just kind of rambling on, seeing if anybody would join, maybe ask some questions and, see what's what. Got one. Any questions from the one viewer that I have? Yeah, let me know. Duncan Smith in the sticks. This is my real estate office. And hold on, I got to put on my glasses. Hey, Duncan. I'm from Georgia. I'm here from Georgia, from New Jersey. I want to know is the price of cow patties went up this year. I used as a kid, I used to throw those for fun. And cow patties, I was talking to a big dairyman last night, retired, and he was saying the dairy farmers used to get revenue from crop farmers for spreading their manure on their crop ground, and then the crop guys figured out that the dairy guys didn't have anywhere to spread their manure, so the crop guys got to charging the dairy guys for manure. And isn't that how it works? The bigger dairies just decided to bring in feed and not have a land base and just keep adding pens and adding cows. And so then they had to have a place for that manure, and it was a revenue stream for them until it wasn't. And then now California is kicking everybody. Well, California seems to be pretty hard on animal agriculture right now, but maybe that's just my hillbilly perspective. But George, I appreciate the appreciate the comment. Well, it looks like we got 8 folks. I primarily sell real estate in the Ozarks. I used to dairy farm. My bride and I, we bought a farm, and looks like we're gonna keep most of it, but we're in the process of selling that farm that we bought to get paid out of debt. And we're empty nesters and pretty tickled to maybe to be out of debt. I love you, Duncan. Not nearly sad enough across the continental United States. Tell you that for sure. Anywho, so that farm we bought served us well, and on paper it was income generator. Sam, I am. Happy New Year, hillbilly, from a hillbilly wannabe. Yeah, it's pretty glorious to be a hillbilly. So, really conservative nature. Everybody's kind of, I guess, in their own little world. But if it came to a crisis, which nobody wants a crisis, but this area, South Central Missouri, primarily Wright, Texas, and Douglas County, I'm a big proponent of this Southern Missouri region. So anyway, buy, sell, or trade real estate questions, I'd love them, or life in general. I dairy farmed for 30 some years. We had a cheese plant. We still got an agritourism pumpkin patch with the corn maze. And that's been quite a revenue driver the last few years. It's been pretty good. And all my children are followers of Christ, which is kind of a big deal. The real estate has been really, really, really good for me and mine. We've been able to buy some properties and to resell some properties, and we're big into generational transfer. Now that I'm 55, soon to be 56, I think about that generational transfer, and leaving an inheritance for my children's children. And I am selling a piece of ground, but we're buying other pieces, hopefully to distribute. Sam, I am. Do you recommend to get a lawyer to work up paperwork if one is leaning to sell land via owner finance? First timer. So I do. I've got several folks who've been involved in contract for deeds, and I had a guy from Texas. Sorry, we're warming up the office. I had a guy from Texas say, Duncan, them contract for deeds they're not really that great of an idea. And I was, young and arrogant. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. They're the best thing ever. But we had a lawyer do the contract for deeds. Turns out, I think the guy from Texas is right. Deed in lieu of lien, just like a bank. And that way, if they don't fulfill their end of the obligation, you can go through a foreclosure process and, get your property back. And yes, the answer to your question is yes. Lawyers make real estate people look good, and I definitely would. I would just go through a lot of scenarios with your potential buyer, and what's ironic and fun, when I went to sell the farm that we bought, I offered it to some neighbors. I offered it to 6 younger guys, and in their 20s, 30s, at 3% interest, and not one of them would take me up on it. I did tell them, I said, look, you'll probably go broke. Maybe that's a great sales pitch, but they didn't have it, and it'd been a great time for them to own it, but they couldn't get anybody. The next great moneymaker would be growing hemp, not only for hemp oil, but also product itself, the byproduct. I'm a big proponent of hemp. I like it, strong rope, oil, all that. The processing is going to be corporate, and I hate that. Anyway, it's. I think hemp is a wonderful thing. Grow in a drought, it's like poison hemlock. It's feed. It's it used to be a staple until people gave it a bad name. But so, Sam, I am on the lawyer deal, dude. I don't know, in Greene County, I would go, and it's really pretty simple. Do your Google research. Everybody's a genius now that they have the internet, and I would think a deed in lieu of lien. You're just gonna, if you own it outright, you're gonna hold the first mortgage on it, and you're going to be paid off if they sell it, and they can't sell it without you being paid off. So hello, girls. That's what my grandpa Needle used to say. Hello, girls. I'll call them back. Real estate friend. Realtors and lawyers are a dime a dozen. I don't know if growing market elderberry. This is a growing market. The most elderberries now in the U.S. Yep. So we've got a lot of elderberries. The fruit experiment station here in Mountain Grove, Missouri. They've been processing elderberries for 10, 15 years now. Great stuff. Like, it will heal a lot of stuff, kill a lot of bad stuff. But I'd soon stomp elderberries with my feet. And I'm not taking a bath either, just so you know. It makes it better. My foot fungus is top notch. If I go too far, I probably accelerated there. Well, I tell you, if most of it's imported from Ukraine, those folks are a little busy right now dodging bullets. So I'd say it'd be a good time to stomp some elderberry seeds. But I don't know. I'm anything to do with agriculture is going to be super hard work. There's going to be some young kid that thinks he can do it faster, smarter, and stronger. I lost one or two. I try not to let it get me. Ag folks will always drive the price to zero. So unless you're going to get big and spread those costs out over, units, it's anything to do with ag, it's a young man's game. And my grandpa used to say that all the time. And when I was a young guy, I was like, I don't understand that at all. Of course, it's a young man's game. This is fun. When you get my age, you're like, gee whiz, man, that's a young man's game. My back hurts. And animal agriculture, I'm concerned about agriculture in general. And maybe that's just because I've turned into what they call an old bastard. But the evaluations of land and equipment and the risk that these young folks have to take on, and it just doesn't seem like you can maybe get your spouse on the same page as all the risk and the financial reward is just it's not instantaneous. It's definitely farmers, for lack of a better term, they live poor and die rich, and their kids, they reap the benefits. You hope, a lot of times. My my dad was a heck of a guy, and he left more land and cash, and than just was a guy that could put it together. And my sister and her husband acquired some land and have done really really well, and my wife and we acquired some family ground, and we seem to be putting it together and doing well. But it can be a curse if you're not really up for the challenge. Even if you get land, I had a younger guy tell me, even if you get land given to you, a lot of people just can't handle it. They just they can't maintain it. They can't keep the fences up. It goes into a wild abyss of trees and buckbrush and weeds, and they. It's funny, even if you get it given to you, if you're not careful, land is a huge responsibility. Boy, howdy. We've got 13 minutes and 9 seconds that some of you folks ain't going to get back, but if you want to know anything about the farm, you want Duncan Smith's opinion on the farm, I'd love to give it to you. I like it. I don't want to go big agriculture. I just want to be self-sustaining with about 10 acres, still shopping around for something in the Ozarks. Well, Alan, shop all you want. And the good ones seem to be going up. And I'm in the business, and I'm super optimistic about real estate. But I tell people, buy what you can until you find what you want, so that you have an inflation hedge. And that's me. And that's what I recommend to people. If you're looking for a 10-acre piece, I'd buy a 3-acre piece if I thought it was a buy. And, I'd always be looking to trade up. I've got a lot of younger friends. They want to have a 500-acre farm, and they want to run a couple hundred head of cows, and well, it just don't work like that. Mama's got to have a good job. You've got to have a good job, and more than likely you're going to be feeding cows in the dark, and more than likely tractors aren't going to start, and your fingers are going to be cold, and you're going to wonder, what in the world am I running this farm for? But it's a love. I get it. And when I was younger, we raised our kids on the farm, and we sold milk and they sent us a check, and we sold calves and they sent us a check. My wife and I, we didn't have an off farm income. I mean, really, we had a pumpkin patch and we had a cheese plant. And I guess maybe I did a few things for hire, but not. I tried to concentrate on the family and the dairy. And, you know, my wife did a lot better job in a lot of areas than I did. So I just want to get away from the city and I don't want a huge farm. Well, I'd recommend getting away from the city as fast as I could because may come a time when you can't leave just because it's bumper to bumper. And I don't reckon, lose less, buy a smaller farm. There is a reason for Walmart and cheap food. And, there is some glory in raising your own food, and I get it. And we raise our own beef, and we've got a little garden, and my grandpa had an orchard and a green thumb, and but unless it's just a love, I don't know if you really can produce food cheap enough. I guess if you stay home and I don't know. That's a tough one, but I get it. I wish you well, and I hope you do get out of the city and have some ground. It's getting harder to find reliable house builders out there in the sticks. The good ones, they are not shy on pricing their labor, and the good ones are not having any trouble finding work. So I know several guys that are very, very capable, but they're just not going to build your high-end mansions. They're going to build your $80 to $100 a square type homes. That just a real comfortable farmhouse that is not flashy. So I don't know why, if you enjoy the outdoors like today, between cutting wood and I fixed a couple trailers did some welding and different things and was outside. I went in the house and sipped some coffee and told my bride that I loved her, but I just don't spend much time in the house. Maybe there'll become a time that I will. I'm a contractor and I can attest to that. Well, we are running out of doers. I'm still physically able, but there's a certain. They say there's like 10,000 people my age retiring every day in different segments of this economy, and I tell young folks, if you'd show up for more than a week, you'd probably own the company if you had any gusto, and they'd probably finance it to you because they're dumb. There again, I'm sure my parents and grandparents are like, man, I don't know how these young people are going to feed themselves. Well, seems like it always works out. Well, I get it, Katie's Kitchen. I don't need a huge house. I get it. I'd see, I've got a good older friend that said, pardon my French, and I won't go into exactly what he said, but he said every farmer needs a place to lay his dirty butt, but to a lady, the house is the home, and that's the nest. So I think there has to be a balancing act. So Alan says I'm 51 and I don't see retirement in my near future. Most people who retire die. So, in my estimation, so I'd tell you probably don't retire. My bride and I were talking about we're trying to get some more residual income going, maybe get some rentals, hopefully develop some of these land parcels that we bought. And I want to continue to buy those for that generational transfer to my grandkids to give them a chip in the game. But we bought several and they are sitting idle, but I don't mind land. I check on it. There are no squatters on it. And a lot of it's fenced and we mark the boundaries and, trying to be a good steward of what we bought. But at the end of the day, at my age, I don't necessarily want to have to work every day. I'd like to take a check to the bank and, talk and joke with people every day would be a lot of fun. But and I mean, I'm not going to retire either. Realtors, in the morning I go, whoop, okay, I'm a talker. My talker still works. I guess I can sell some real estate. And I mean, there's no better. I just love real estate and bringing buyers and sellers together. And there is going to be a train wreck and a fire, and somebody's going to be yelling more than likely between the time every real estate deal gets done. And you just have to say, we're going to work through this. And I understand your concerns on your side, and getting info on the other side, and we're gonna just kind of figure this out and make it to where people can get along with the deal. So, and that's what real estate's all about: putting out fires and keeping your name good. And I tell people, I can tell the truth day in and day out, and you're still going to have haters. Just some people ain't got enough to do, I don't guess. But anywho, well, we've been 22 minutes and 13 seconds in, and I haven't asked for a like or subscription yet. I think most of you folks are subscribers probably. This YouTube deal, this digital deal, been fascinated. Most of my videos, subscribers aren't watching them from what I can tell from my analytics. And there's just such a vast resource of people looking for information. And this YouTube deal, I mean, I used to love talk radio. I shut down more talk radio stations you can shake a stick at. And this deal getting on, it's not worked to me. But I'm going to wrap it up unless you got some other. Oh, Sam, I am. Enjoy your videos. I learned something from each one of them. Well, thank you, Sam, I am. It's a really great name. I'm still not sure about these YouTube names or this. I just use my name, and maybe that's a problem. But a lot of people are hiding behind, different. I guess maybe maybe I should be hiding behind an alias, but I guess it's hard for them to find you in the real estate career. And I haven't got, I've got a lot of buyers' calls, and I hope to put some deals together from YouTube. But right now it's just, it's a listing presentation. I do enjoy your fights with your shop lights. A lot of people would just put them on a switch where you don't have to fight, but that's not, that's not, that'd be way too easy, right? I don't even know what I was saying. Okay, back to buyers. So right now, I think we're just, on YouTube, in a listing presentation, I can say, look, I can put your property on YouTube, and I think I've got 28,000 views on a couple of my better. Really, how I got monetized was those 2 or 3 listings I did, and people started watching them, and that helped me to get monetized, which it's $110, but coming from a dairy farm background, if I get paid $3 a day to be Duncan Smith, dude, count me in. I do it for free. So, anywho, but yeah, it's, life on the farm, it's all, you got to count it all as joy, because unless you've got a super good off farm income, or, you're a multi whatever, and you've always wanted to farm and you've got the money to do it, and you're going to buy the best of the best, and no nickel and diamond. If it's broken, you'll send it to the shop, and it doesn't matter if it's $500 an hour. It doesn't matter if it's $10,000 an hour. My golly, you're going to get her done. And good for you. That's not me. My 930 case is paid for, and built in 1969, probably. So, folks, we're 25, almost 26 minutes in. Sure appreciate you logging in and joining me on this live. And any other comments or questions or concerns? I've got a couple listings that I'm going to. I'm kind of fiddling around with the screen. I'm gonna. That's 71 acres. There's 11 acres that'll split off really well. It's got a spring on it, and I think we're gonna put it at. I have to look back at my notes. Around 54,000. So right around 5,000 an acre. So you can buy the whole thing for $3,900 an acre, or the splits are going to be probably closer to 5. Some of them might be in the upper 4s. But, I tell buyers, if you want a bargain, buy a big piece, and then you kind of whittle off what you don't want, and maybe you can get your piece reduced or for free. So 11 acres with a spring sounds nice. Is there a good spot to put a home and a barn? There sure is. That's the thing. It's got highway frontage and gravel road frontage. And whenever I was riding that property with my bike, I was kind of looking how the ground laid. And, it's going to have to be surveyed and fenced. So that, I used my phone in the Onyx Hunt and marked my spot, because that contour of that land is kind of on the ridge, follows that ridge up through there. So it's right at 11 acres and a pretty decent spring with watercress, and there's some level spots in it. And they're going to sell off some other parcels, but you're going to have your own. If you face your house to the west, maybe have a sunroom kind of on the back, and you're not going to have any super close. So septic or sewer, it's land, and it's going to be 11 acres with power and great access. So I like lagoons because, and you can wildcat in a septic if you want. It's against the law, but you don't let them laws slow you down too much, unless they do. But hello, girls. I'm going to have to end this and talk to a realtor about a day of showing tomorrow. Folks, appreciate you. Have a blessed day. Over and out. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Over and out.